Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. The bus is on the road, and it's a big one tonight. How's everybody feeling? Are the nerves kicking in? He's all getting excited for the big event tomorrow. That's right, it's Eurovision tomorrow night, folks. But sources also say there's a wee football game going on in Glasgow, and luckily for you, we're here to talk about it. And the stakes could not be higher. This is what it all comes down to. It is indeed Celtic and Rangers. Part 4 out of 5 this season. God, these games come around way too often for my liking. But yes, tomorrow's one, being big, putting it lightly. Yes, because we thought the league title was essentially on the line at Ibrox. But my God, it's definitely on the line tomorrow. It is all to play for. Glory awaits Celtic. It's right there for them to go and grab it, and let's hope that they do it. But of course, I'm joined by my now usual Friday night team to get us through this one, to help you guys, the viewers, through it. Michael, welcome back to Friday nights, mate. How you doing?
All good, mate. All good. Glad to be back on. Glad to be back on Friday as well. I loved last week, obviously, Mark, and a good laugh for yourself as well. But I like the Friday crew as well, so I'm quite happy.
Good stuff, mate. Glad to see you. And Liam, is Greg Taylor stopped playing around with your internet after last week's shenanigans?
Mate, he's definitely after me. I felt hesitancy behind my shoulder. I don't know, it's getting eerie. I think it's getting personal. I mean, I've certainly made it personal, so he's got every right. But
just as a sad, yeah. I mean, he's quite the topic of discussion on Friday nights. And I'm sure at some point tonight he'll get mentioned somewhere along the line, and I'm sure we'll let you just go with it, Liam. But tomorrow, when it comes to Greg Taylor, tomorrow is the day to have the game of games, because everybody has to be on it tomorrow, but we'll be getting into that in due course. But of course, before we go any further, folks, just remember to do all that good stuff that helps the channel out massively. Hit that like button, helps out an algorithm, CSC. Obviously, get involved in our comment section tonight. We'll bring some comments up along the way, interact with you guys. Let's hear your opinions on the game, how you're all feeling, excited, nervous. Going to be hiding behind the couch tomorrow. Where are you going to be watching it? You're going to be in the stadium, you're going to be watching it on TV, whatever happens. We're in a pub, whatever, you're going to enjoy the game. Let us know. And also, of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. By all means, I think 4,600 plus have done it so far. So why not join them if you haven't done so yet? And share the link of the Bhoycie Bus far and wide. Like, share, slag the hair, as Russell always says. And of course, head over to piesports.com and use that code BUS1888 and get 12.5% off your tasty pastry treats. And with that said and done, yes, let's get into it. I said at the top of the show, other than Eurovision tomorrow, yes, Celtic and Rangers, that is the real main event, let's be honest here. So yeah, it is, say, the 4th league meeting of the season. Up to now, so far, we have not lost any of said meetings. We have won 2 and we have drawn 1. And of course, that last game was a slobber knocker, to say the least, a humdinger, where we were in control. We were 2-0 up at Ibrox at half-time, cruising our way to victory. They were losing the rag. But second half, it was just one of those things. Momentum shifted. They made a couple of wise substitutions. We seemed to regress in the second half. But then we did get ourselves back in front after they equalised. But of course, even though they said 87 minutes on the clock we equalised, there was still about another 13 minutes of game time to go at that stage, because the stoppage time was obscene. And of course, we couldn't see it out. And of course, afterwards, Michael, they of course loved it. They lauded it up. They celebrated it. Their manager said it was a moral victory. But then, of course, they had a little stumble following that one, and it's played right into our hands. We are now the team in pole position. We are in the driving seat to go and get it done. I genuinely do feel that had Rangers actually, or had Celtic went and won that game and saw it out, I think that wee slip that Rangers had, I think they would have. I think they might have got through that with 2 wins. But I think them drawing that game itself, I think it's made them a bit complacent. I think the way they lauded it and say moral victory and all that nonsense. But yes, played back into our hands, and now tomorrow, home advantage, no away fans at all, not a single one. And we've shown in this era of no away fans, reduced allegations, that we cope better in that scenario compared to them when they come to Celtic Park. It's all set up tomorrow, Michael, to be an absolute slobber knocker, mate. A heavyweight contest for the ages.
Yeah, definitely, Phil. And we're talking about them in the last game at Ibrox, like celebrating a 3-3 draw when we were 2-0 behind. Even the fans were giving it big licks after it, like as if it was a victory. So, is that what they are as a club, really? You know what I mean? That's what they're celebrating. But no, look forward to tomorrow, obviously, since like full time last week. After it eventually came with VAR and everything. I just think the way we played last week, I look back to our old selves, played that high tempo stuff. I mean, I didn't realise earlier, we've only had McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly, 6 games out of 35 this season in the league.
Our best midfield.
Exactly. I didn't realise it was that bad, this actual stat, but 6 times out of 35. And you're talking about injuries, that's the biggest, obviously the main part of your team, I think, was the midfield. That's our strongest area.
Yeah.
So I think now last week, McGregor, I thought he was brilliant last week against Hearts, Callum McGregor. And he looked back to his old self last week. Then Hatate's getting stronger every game for me.
Aye.
And I think O'Reilly's started to kick into a bit of form as well the last few weeks. Before saying he's maybe kind of suffered after January, which I agree with. He didn't know what to sell for a few weeks. Maybe the transfer window got to him a wee bit. I don't know, but it seemed to kind of tail off a wee bit for maybe a month or two. But I think maybe the last 6 weeks he started to kick on again. Then with Hatate playing the midfield, we're playing a lot quicker. And McGregor last week anyway, he looks back to himself. And that run in the second half with the Hearts player busting forward, he made up 10 yards, get back, then made a tackle after it. That was cheered like a goal.
It was,
wasn't it? So I think to have him back at his best is massive for us for tomorrow as well. And I don't in my group chat with my mates earlier, I was kind of worried about it. Say everything's set up too good for us tomorrow. Like that's something we can come unstuck. But I was getting slagged for being the positive one, and sometimes I can be the opposite, right? But no, I just think we played last week, it set us up nicely, and we showed the mentality last week, and they seem to be imploding. But what's Clermont on about after last week? The disrespect of them, like even like within the context of the actual media conference and what he said, the context he was in, like surely he's not taking the bait with it. Have a bit of fun next week. He's obviously mean the atmosphere and the occasion. And he's taking the bait as in we'll have fun with them. Like as if for nothing.
Yeah.
I think they're imploding, honestly, and I think if we go out and play the way we can more in the attack the way we can, at the tempo we can, the first 10 minutes tomorrow, I think if we score early, I think they'll capitulate. Honestly, I just think they're coming apart at the seams at the wrong time of the season for them. We're starting to really kick on in the next, obviously the last few weeks. I think we have. We're starting to kick on at the right time of the season. It's all there for us, Phil. I think I'm really confident tomorrow, and I've not always said that about this team this season.
Yep.
But I'm fully confident tomorrow. I think we'll turn up when needed and we'll get the win. Honestly, I'm buzzing for it.
Good stuff, man. So you're not the only one going by the opinion on social media. But of course, Liam, we do still have to guard against complacency because we've all seen enough of these fixtures over the years to know that the old cliche form book goes out the window and all that stuff. So we need to guard against it. There will be moments where I think Rangers will have the wee chances here and there. And obviously, we've got to accommodate for the incompetent officials at times and what they can do. But Liam, I think Michael's right there talking about the forum right now. We seem to have found, ever since Tynecastle and that disaster where most people were like, how is this season going to go now? We look on the ropes here. But now it's like two trains just travelling in opposite directions where they are basically the team that are on the downward slope essentially. And yeah, we have found forum at just the right time. I mean, it would be ideal if Celtic had turned up all season and just wiped the floor with everybody. That'd be fantastic. But at the end of the day, or the end of the season rather, all that matters is as long as you're top at the end. And right here at the business end of the season, we've actually managed to find that little bit of forum that we needed. We're starting to kick on now. And yeah, it's all setting up nicely. So where's your head right now, Liam, going into tomorrow?
Well, that's it. I think you talked about it in complacency. So my head as a fan, I'm loving it. I think it's brilliant. This has been nothing but a positive week where every single piece of news that's coming out of Celtic Park is positive. The momentum is with us, and everything that's coming out of their communications, their players, they're having bust-ups in the parking lot, supposedly they're punch-ups in the change room. You've got their manager just completely losing the plot to all sorts of, imaginary slights, and things like that. Thinks he's going into the Colosseum tomorrow to be a gladiator. I think that's kind of cute. I think as a fan, probably it's the most positive I've ever been. And so in that case as well, just because we're all Scottish and that, we always look for that, that dark side, or we've seen it ourselves where, like, even the beginning of the season, we were going to Ibrox and we had Liam Scales playing and stuff like that, and who was it, Stephen Welsh and that as well. So we didn't think we had much of a chance, and coming away with a victory. So I think it's the players have to watch it for complacency. I think as fans, I think we deserve this. We've been waiting for that momentum to switch, get all our players back, and see a positive Celtic that is starting to hit peak performance at exactly the right time. I mean, I can't remember ever seeing a squad where we're going to play them and everybody's fit. I mean, even getting Dyson back, I mean, James McCarthy coming off the bench tomorrow, holding the midfield. Want to take the piss? Let's play James tomorrow. But it's funny as well seeing the interviews with the two different managers as well. Brendan was just so relaxed, so positive, engaged with the questions, and willing to give really good answers. I thought it was the best press conference I've seen him do in ages. And then you get Philippe Clement just completely rattled. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this team. Like Fabio Silva, by all accounts, it was a punch up with Alec Ray. I don't know if that's true or not. I just seen it on Twitter, but does that mean he'll not be playing tomorrow? Because he's one of the guys that just flops about everywhere, and I think we Willie call him as a referee. He's no a good enough referee or cultured enough referee to handle that sort of behaviour. Whereas either punishing it appropriately or actually falling for it and using it as a way to send off Celtic players and that. So, complacency is a big thing, but as a fan, I am enjoying it, mate. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up as well about mentality and the sort of body language or the way the vibe that both managers are giving off. Because one of the narratives that's annoyed me, Michael, in the last few weeks, particularly from both Rangers fans, I don't think the media have really pushed this one, but reading their comments on social media, you see them mouthing off. And one of the things they're going on about is, Brendan, he's giving it big licks now, that they're sitting top and all that. And it's like, well, hold on a second, you've not been paying attention here. We had to keep ourselves in it. There was a point in time where we were, I say, on the ropes. We were struggling. The season started where the first act of the season was okay. The middle act was absolutely horrendous, but the third act we seemed to have got ourselves together. But during that middle part of the season where it was just like we were plodding along from game to game, not knowing what's going to happen. So there's a few games along the way there where they are going to be crucial at the end of the season. Once this is said and done, I'm thinking Hibs away and Motherwell away, where I think they were 2 games a week apart or something like that, weren't they? I think there was 1 game sandwiched in between. But yeah, 2 games where we had stoppage time winners. And it's a case of, we had to, hang in there and get those results. And at the time, we go back to when Andrew was first in charge, Andrew's first season, we talk about Ross County, talk about that goal that Anthony Ralston scored, one of those ones that just keeps you in there. Because Celtic had all that momentum back at the start of the season. They were pulling clear. At one point, I believe we were 11 points ahead in December when we beat St Johnstone. And then, of course, we basically crumbled and allowed them back into it. But the crucial thing was, Michael, that we never got to the point where we were out of sight, where we dropped 2-3 losses away from them. So, even if they'd lost a game, they would still have kept the advantage. We always kept them within striking distance, even when they went top for a very short time. And of course, once again, they got a little bit too excited and they were mouthing off again and again and again, as they do. And of course, it's all imploded for them. But I think, at the end of the day, they can mouth off about, look at Brendan being all arrogant now that he's sitting top. But it's like, no, there was a lot of work had to be done in that sticky period to make sure that we were still in with a shout to allow us to be in this position at this point in time. So I think he deserves a bit more credit than he's getting, to be honest.
Oh, definitely. That sticky period, Phil, I remember they won the League Cup, right? But don't get me wrong, I love winning the League Cup as well as much as anybody. It's brilliant for a day out, stuff like that, right? And it can be a big point in the season. But when they won it, you think they'd won the league, the way they were carrying on, all the different photographs came about and the way they were celebrating outside Ibrox, the players and their fans, everyone. And I know a few of them and some of the stuff we're posting, like, okay, I'd rather we won it than get put out early like you did. But it's too early in the season. And the media narrative from then was like, Clement's this new saviour. They're going to motor on this season. They're going to leave us behind. And this was week on week. In reality, we were only ever like 3 points behind them. I think that was the most.
Yeah.
At any point. But the way the media were spinning it, the way their fans were trying to convince themselves that they were going to walk all over us. And do you remember we went into that game in December? Right. We hadn't a hope in hell according to the media.
That's right. We might as well not turned up that day.
Basically,
I remember
that was the narrative at that time. This Clermont was this genius. They were going to turn up, turn us over, and stamp their authority in this season. And we never laid a glove on us that day because we turned up when we had to. And like you said, at that point in the season, we hung in there.
Yep.
Like you said, Motherwell, Hibs, and this is earlier in the season, obviously, but it's kind of in the same context what I'm saying. But we scored the last minute against Motherwell at Fir Park as well, Matt Riley, earlier in the season.
we did, yeah.
So like you're saying, the crucial games like that do matter, but I just think it's all there for us tomorrow, honestly, to just go and win this game and just shut everybody up. Because I was getting sick at one point, like, did the press not realise we're only 3 points behind them?
I know.
I think we're all honest enough at that stage of the season. Like, we're not playing well, but we keep chopping and changing. The team fluidity is not there. We're playing far too slow. We look totally disjointed, and we look a totally different team for last season. But like you said, the point is, we hung in there and we kept in the race. We kept at most 3 points behind.
Yep.
And I always felt that when we got to the business end of the season, especially Rodgers, and I've been critical of him at times this season, but we got to the business end of the season. As long as we're still touching distance, we'll turn up when we have to. And that's kind of been proven since then. So that's why I'm so confident about tomorrow, is that in fact Rodgers has been there, done that. The players have been there, done it, like McGregor. O'Reilly's been there as well. 2 championships, obviously, and Hatati's been there. We've got our players back fit at the right time of the season. I think the mentality's there. And like Liam said, they've totally imploded the other side of the city. Like, I've not even seen the managers, like Clermont's press conference, but I've heard about it. And you contrast it to Rodgers. Rodgers kind of smirking, like, everybody knows what I meant, having a bit of fun. The media's totally split. The way he's reacted, like, I think he knows Rodgers knows that he's got Clermont beat as well, more importantly.
Aye.
He's just kind of smirking at him, like, okay, bring on tomorrow, whatever.
I'll be just waiting for Clermont to do a Kevin Keegan. I would love it if we beat them. Love it.
I think he's done that already. Honestly, I think that's what it seemed like. I think he's done that. Like, he broke down last week, but that was totally unwarranted with what Rodgers said.
Like, well, you don't think that the sort of the mask sort of slipped after we beat them in December? That was the first real cracks shown in his sort of mental attitude, where after the game, I think a reporter asked him, did the better team win there or something? And he went, what do you think? You think they were the better team? He was very like bullish about it. It's like, well, we were. If you watch the way that game panned out in December, them getting a goal with, like, I think it was at the 88th minute, and there was like 8 minutes stoppage time. Of course, why wouldn't there be? We were quite shaken at that point in the game, but up until they got that free kick and scored, we could have made it whatever we wanted it to be that day. We just didn't take our chances. But yeah, sort of all of them. But yeah, that was the first time I think we saw that sort of that side of him coming out, and yeah, ever since then, I think he's just the Belgian Michael Beale, as a lot of fans like to christen him. Before we talk about our team, let's just focus on a couple of things, Liam, that could be crucial. Because Scott House says, to be fair, I'm glad that Sima or Matonda won't be playing, and Sima, I think, has been one of their better players this season. I think when he came on at halftime at Ibrox in the last game, he had a lot of joy down that right-hand side. He was involved in the second goal, albeit Callum McGregor was quite heavily involved in their second goal as well. But I did think he made a difference. I mean, he's been one of the better players. But yeah, injuries have basically caught up with him since like January when he went to the African Cup of Nations, copped an injury, and he's been intermittently in and out of their team. And yeah, Matonda, who I thought was finished after Beale got sacked, he's obviously found a wee second win there, did score that equaliser, but yeah, he's out as well. And I think they've got a few other injury problems mounting up. So that's obviously going to help us, Liam. And obviously, I think the other one is obviously Goldson is out. So it's going to be, I don't think Balogun's even available for them, which I was kind of hoping would be. But I think it's Davis who's been frozen out for quite a while at Ibrox, but he came in last week and scored after coming off the bench. So I don't know, that'll be him a hero again, I guess. And yeah, so they have got quite a few injuries going on. We've had all the bad luck with injuries this season, Liam, where we've been patching teams together, with sticky tape at times, trying to hold a team together. But yeah, the shoe's on the other foot now. And again, it can only play, because I say Seema's definitely, obviously, one of their biggest dangers. So that is a huge bonus for us, Liam.
I don't like Seema running it as. I mean, we still. But as positive we are with everything, I don't like our defence still. I still think we've planned us to ship at any point. And him running at AJ or Greg Taylor, that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. But, you know, their whole team's in turmoil right now. And I think it's no most like the physical injuries right now. It's the mental injuries that they've got right now in their head. You know, celebrating draws and looking at that. I don't think they're in an emotional state to play us. In fact, I think you might see a few of their players losing the plot. Because if this goes down, they know their season's done. That's it. They're not coming back for it. And especially if we start running it up. And when our crowd starts rubbing it into them as well, that's where they'll be losing a lot of their discipline. And I don't think their players show enough emotional maturity on the park to actually get a good doing, you know, and accept it as professionals. I think that's the one thing I took away from Rodgers' press conference is we just seem to have such a professional approach to this game. The whole way he was talking about setting it up, the team's prepared, we've been doing all the right things. They're talking, Clement was talking about gladiators and coliseums and Bhoycie turned into Vladimir Zelensky. Was he always talking like that? It's like, Jesus Christ, man, imagine that.
Apparently, Liam, he said something as well. And people said, the more that they boo us, the stronger my team will become.
Aye.
Well, let's see how that pans out tomorrow.
Aye, he's went full Kashina. It's the Pedrofication of Rangers. It's fun and it's delightful to watch, and I will have fun watching him get hammered tomorrow.
It could be one of those, because Michael said earlier on, I think if an early goal does go in, I know there has been a few games this season that we've played where we have scored early and the game sort of fizzled out, or we've had a good first half and we've not really pushed on after the first goal and then we come out second half. But again, and I know it's easy for a fan to sit and say this because I'm not in the dressing room, I'm not a professional player, but I just think with the mentality of the players and the manager, with what's on the line, they know what they have to do, and it's like, surely to God, if they do get a first goal tomorrow, they'll just keep going and going and going and just add to it. Because, I think fans are right to have that wee bit of concern. If we go in at half-time, say just 1-0 up after a quite dominant first half, you do start to get a wee bit of edge because this Celtic team, and Liam was right to point out, there is still some issues there in the defence and whatnot. And all it takes is one silly mistake, one, slip, whatever, and it could be we could get punished for it. I've seen many games over the years. Again, this is one of these fixtures where you don't take your chances, you'll end up getting sucker punched. One of my favourite ever games against them, 2008, when Vennegoor Hesselink scored the winner. But the first half that night, when Nakamura scored that screamer, that first half was all one-way traffic. We battered them from pillar to post. I couldn't believe it was 1-0 at half-time. And the first chance that they got in the second half in actual Novo, they scored. And it's like, that's type of stuff. So you've got to make sure that tomorrow, the chances when they fault us, we just put them away. And none of this, if we do find ourselves in a position, just like 2018, where we are running away with it, we don't stop. I know Ange Postecoglou's not here anymore, but we don't stop, because 2018, we were 5-0 up after 50 minutes. And I think we took the foot off the gas that day. I really do. I think we did. So if we happen to be fortunate enough tomorrow to find ourselves in a similar position, just keep going, boys. Keep going, because the place will be absolutely rocking if that's the case. And Michael, that is going to be crucial tomorrow because, again, talk about atmosphere. The blueprint, as I say, for the atmosphere, because they've shown over the years they don't like an intimidating atmosphere. They don't cope well with the whole away fan allocation reductions or no away fan stuff. But of course, the blueprint is February 2022, albeit it was a nighttime game. There's very much a different vibe around the stadium when it's a nighttime game. But that was one of those games where as soon as those players walked out on the park that night, looking at the body language of the Rangers players, Tavernier with the big wide eyes, deer in headlights type thing, you knew that they were beat right away. And tomorrow, Michael, it's going to be so crucial on the fans in the stadium. You and I will be there. It's up to us and 60,000 others to make sure that they have lost the game the second they walk on that park. They'll walk out there and they are shiting it, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you remember, like the COVID season when they won the league, right? In fact, I think it was the tail end of the season before. Tavernier was in their match program saying their players don't deal well with the crowd when they start booing them. Right. Yeah. I think obviously we imploded that season anyway, right? I don't want to go off topic here, but we imploded that season, so they won the league, right? Fair enough. But that's bad days when your captain's coming out and saying stuff like that.
Very good. Yep.
And we're going to play them, but they've got no fans there. And I think last week, I think you saw a difference in the players as well when the way the atmosphere was against Hearts. The atmosphere was brilliant last week. I think that's the best it's been in a while. Like, I know usually at home games, you know yourself, Phil, obviously, that home games are kind of reliant on the two groups. Obviously, Boys and Green Brigade, right, providing the atmosphere. And see if folk just want to sit and watch the game, right, not a problem with that. That's fine. Everybody's different how we support a team, not a problem. But I think last week, when you saw the atmosphere, the whole stadium was into it last week. And I think it made a big difference to the players and how they played. They played with confidence last week. They played at a increased tempo. We looked on it for the first whistle. And that's against Hearts. Times that by what? 10 tomorrow, easily.
Yeah.
Then, if the players can't be inspired by that, then we'll be in trouble. But they'll surely have been in the past, so I've no worries about that. I think the fans will turn up tomorrow, the team will turn up. Like you said, no complacency. We've all been there, win, tails up, stuff like that. The games the last time we came away unstuck, conceding a stupid goal, whatever. But I think as long as we turn up, the players get the right mentality. Tomorrow, the crowd's behind them for the first whistle to the last, then I don't think they've got the mentality to cope with that either. Yeah. I generally don't. I don't think I've got the mentality anyway in general, but in terms of evidence come out in the last couple of weeks, or the last week especially, we score early, we can turn them over. And you said, Phil, just keep going.
Yeah, that's it.
And ram a lot of the media's words down their throats as well, for everything that's been said this season. And the fawning over that they've done after they win the League Cup and they were supposed to be world beaters. So if the players are annoyed by that at any point, tomorrow's a chance to prove it. And come out with a champions mentality and show them why we're champions in this country. Yeah. Go out and prove it. We've got 3 games left to win the league. 90 minutes tomorrow, go and win it for the first whistle. And I'm confident we will. Like, I've been critical of this team this season a good few times, but I think it's all stacking up nicely, especially performance last week against Hearts. And I think the players are clicking in the gate at the right time as well.
No, definitely. Perfect storm brewing. Like say, perfect storm coming together. Liam, will come to you in this one because Steve was coming into the chat and said, big question is how will they play it? Our plan is simple. We play our game and can you deal with it? And then if they need to win, which they do, although their manager totally contradicted Jack Butland's word. Jack Butland said in the press conference that they need to win, but then Clement said, a draw is still, we can still be champions with a draw. Contradict each other. But anyway, do they go for it from the open and open up to us or try to counter? I think, to answer Steve's question from my point of view, I think they'll just sit deep and just try to hit us in the counter because they know if they open up to us, I think they will, they will get torn apart. So their mentality tomorrow will be to try and just keep it at 0-0 for as long as possible and do that thing that I've seen a lot of teams do this season at Celtic Park. The last 10 minutes, they might go gung-ho for it. And unfortunately, Celtic have had a track record this season at home of being a bit shell-shocked when a team does that. So hopefully we do not find ourselves in that scenario. But Liam, how do you think their game plan will be tomorrow? Do you think they'll just sit and try and stodge it up? Or do you think they'll come in and be bold as brass and just go for it as well?
No, I think they'll sit. And I think they'll be hard-working in the midfield. But as you've seen them before, anytime anybody comes near a Rangers player in the midfield, they throw themselves to the ground and they grab the ball. The amount of times I've seen that in the last game where players going... I remember Barry Ferguson getting a red card for that against us once because he was notorious for that. And that seems to be part of the playbook now. When Philip Clement has got them here. As soon as you're fouled, just go down. And the problem is, Willie Collum, he's got main character syndrome. He likes to get involved, right? He likes to see himself, managing the game and being somehow part of it. He gives all these stupid wee fouls that you get for like just brushing somebody's shoulder and they throw themselves to the ground. And we know as soon as they get the buzz, we know who they're going to be targeting. They're going to target our left side again. So I want to see what how we're going to compensate knowing that they're targeting Greg Taylor and Liam Scales. So what are we going to do to sort of prevent that happening? Because last week, I thought Greg Taylor had a good game. I thought he made a good tackle to set up that second goal, the one where Matt O'Reilly put the ball onto Kyogo. That was a good change in the play from Greg Taylor. He managed to get in and make an actual tackle, turn over the ball, put it to Matt O'Reilly, bang, field goal back of the net. So I want to just see how we're going to help that, and maybe that's a fitter Callum McGregor's going to be able to give him an extra ball there, an extra man that he can play it to, so he doesn't have to play it back all the time. But even against Hearts, Greg, he still nearly gave it away. That amazing save that Joe Hart came out and made, that ended up talking about might have been offside, but then when they looked at it, it was onside. Taylor just gave up. Taylor went into a tackle. He got bodied off the ball. He went down on the ground, holding his face. There was nobody near his face. And just let him run in one-on-one. And Joe Hart came out and made an absolutely brilliant save. Joe Hart doesn't make that save. That's 2-1. Hearts are back in the game, and they were coming on in the second half. We didn't make very good substitutes in that. We sort of lost a bit of the pace. So that's what I'm looking for tomorrow. I think we have to build up a lead as quickly as we can, because I still don't have faith in the substitutions that we're going to make. And Greg Taylor's playing 90 minutes, and so I think that's what I'm worried. I'm worried about Willie Collum and Greg Taylor. Everything else, professionals should be able to do their jobs, but I don't see them landing a glove on us, unless it's really bad at the back, and here's a nightmare game. So we're looking for a really strong showing for Greg Taylor and Liam Scales, knowing that they're going to be a lot of pressure. But if we've got the ball most of the time and we're scoring the goals, we don't need to worry about it. So it's shocking. Take them from the beginning and then just be relentless. Just punish, wave after wave. Don't stop. Give them everything. Take from, give them nothing.
I thought as soon as you mentioned Greg Taylor and heard that horn in the background, I thought the Greg Taylor bus is coming to get you. As soon as you mention him, something's happening. Oh no, because last week, obviously, the internet problem. So hopefully that's not Greg Taylor coming to get you after you called him out there, as you do on a Friday night. But let's talk about what Williams saying there, Michael. He's talking about them targeting some of our bits. Well, this comment from Pam, Maeda, we know who he's going to target, because it's still incredible to think that Rangers' best player, their best threat, is a guy that plays in the defence at right fullback. It's quite astounding. They pass to him all the time. He looks to take every set piece. He's always looking to get crosses into the box. They go down the right side, more on the left side. They just give it to him all the time. I wonder what happens when the day comes that he leaves Rangers. What are they going to do? They're going to go and try and pass in that direction, and he's no there. Or Tavernier, they're going to wonder what they need to do. But as it stands, he is their most dangerous player. It turns out the last 3 goals that they have scored at Celtic Park in this fixture have all been scored by him. 2 free kicks and a header at the back post, which he's actually quite good at, ghosting in at the back post. I've noticed he's actually quite good at that. I've seen him do it a few times for them. But Maeda, let's use a word that Brendan talked about this week about having fun. I think Maeda's going to have some fun tomorrow, Michael.
I don't know if he starts, so that's what I'm thinking. I thought my brother said during the week, a good point, that maybe he starts Forrest on the left, then who's been good for him. I've been critical of Forrest a few times, right? But the last 2 weeks he's been excellent, I think. So does he start Forrest on the left? Let Forrest toy with Tavernier for maybe an hour? And then when Tavernier's on his last legs, which he's not the quickest enemy, in fairness, right? And that's why Maeda targets him. But when he's absolutely done after an hour, deal with Forrest, bring Maeda on, and just, you said, toy with him. Yeah. But I don't know. I think we'll start him, Maeda. I think it'll be Maeda and Forrest the other side. Because I think Forrest merits to start, and you said, well, that's their main attacking threat, is the right back.
Oh. It's quite. I don't want to say it's quite sad, really, but it is odd that your team's best player is their right back. So from our point of view, it's like, well, it should be quite simple to shut them down. But Maeda is definitely the key. I mean, you look at Ibrox in the last year or so, obviously recently the 3 each game, and also the 2 each game last New Year, where Maeda scored early on, and both goals Tavernier was completely lost at sea in both of them. In fact, the one in the Ange game, the 2-2 game, was Morelos passed it right to him in the middle of the park. So that was the first mistake they made. And then Goldson and Tavernier couldn't tackle him as he just ran right through and then slotted it past. I think McGregor was still in goal for them at that point. And then, that one at the start. I mean, that's this chaos ball. That's just but I think when the bus first started, I remember Russell coined the chaos Giacomakis and danger Maeda, because the two of them do just bring chaos. And you watch that goal again. I remember when it went in at Ibrox, that one after like 18 seconds or something, whatever it was. And my first thought was Tavernier had scored an own goal. I thought Tavernier had passed the ball back to Butland, and he just put so much zip on it that it just caught Butland out. He scored. But then, of course, you see the replay from the other side. He's went to hook it away, and it's just hit off Tyson Maeda and went just exactly where he wants it to go into the net. And that's the type of card, because you watch that again backwards. It comes to a long ball, which is something we don't do enough of. Brendan's very much keep the ball, sideways passing. But Joe Hart, if I just went long with that one, just get up the park. It took a really nice bounce. And if you watch the replay of it again and watch Tavernier's body language, the whole time he's running to that ball, he keeps checking over his shoulder. He's wondering where he is. And then, of course, he goes to hook it away into touch and ends up Maeda's on that side that he goes to hook it to. And, of course, it hits him. So that's the type of carnage and chaos that Dyson Maeda brings. And hopefully tomorrow he will bring that, because he definitely panics. His body language says a lot there, that, he's always looking out for him during that first goal there at Ibrox last week. And Liam, something that Michael brought up there about Forrest and Maeda, here we are going into 3 league games to go in the season. Rangers, third last game of the season. The title's pretty much on the line. And here we are, we're talking about James Forrest in the team. Start of the season, Liam, we gave this guy a testimonial, and most fans thought, this is it. Thank you for all the service, James Forrest. You've been excellent for us. And yeah, he was told in January, there's a report that came out, they'd be told he could find another club. But here we are now, with a few games to go. James Forrest has came in. He's been professional about it. He's done a job. There was obviously the line from Brendan about he's still the best winger at the club and whatnot. But yeah, in the games that he's been coming on as a sub recently, he's also been doing the business, and now he's been starting games and he's looking sharp. And I think it's testimony to his professionalism, first and foremost, Liam, that, he could have... I don't think James Forrest ever seemed like the type of player that would have threw the toys at the pram. He just seems like, he's that sort of down-to-earth player. He isn't going to be a diva about anything, but fair play to the lad that he's came in at this point. And yeah, as Mike says, the starting wingers tomorrow is probably going to be Maeda and Forrest. And I don't think anybody could have saw that coming at the start of the season. James Forrest would be such a crucial part of it. But again, I am more than happy to be proved wrong in that one. I'm delighted that he's came in and he's doing the business. And I think it would just be a fantastic story again tomorrow if James Forrest is the guy to pop up. And because he's had a few good moments against them, particularly at Celtic Park, around about this time of the season. So hopefully he can add another one tomorrow, Liam.
Well, that's us writing a story, isn't it? If you're going to write a story about a hero coming back to, sort of help out that we all thought, was done, it's a brilliant resurrection type story for James Forrest to come in and make an impact on, what could be maybe his final season. He could end up retiring this year as well, but I don't know, after that flourish, I mean, there'd still be other teams, I think, interested in James Forrest. And, he's never been an overly, athletic specimen of a player, where that seemed, where he loses pace and that. He doesn't look like he's lost any yards or anything, but his football brain has matured, and his defensive capability has matured. And he's also been under this type of pressure many, many times with Celtic, and he knows how to win. I always remember that semi-final where he came on with Ange, when we beat St Johnstone, I think, and he came on off the bench, and I thought he was gone as well. I wasn't expecting anything after James Forrest. It was like, oh Christ, they're bringing Forrest on there, and he basically scored a goal that turned that around. I think it's a brilliant story in a season where we're rewriting the narrative, but it goes back to recruitment as well. There's two sides to that story. It's the fact that we're in a position right now where we're counting on James Forrest. I think it's just we're really blessed to have him firing on all cylinders. And again, that is about our professional approach to this match, this game, which I don't think will be on the other side. I think Forrest will give them. I think it'll give Tom Davis nightmares. Him coming in and moving inside the way he does, I think that will tie up him and Suter. Suter, I don't think is a very cultured defender. I mean, he's just it reminds me of a Gary Caldwell type player as well. Head and hoof. He doesn't seem to have a lot of football acumen. I remember seeing him playing for Scotland when we can't remember who it was we lost to in the friendly, and he was absolute mince. So I think Kyogo's. We're talking about Maeda tying up Tavernier. I think Kyogo's going to have the 2 in bits. He's completely, dominated Goldson. I think he's going to absolutely destroy the 2 tomorrow, and I think they'll lose the plot. I can see Suter getting sent off. That's one of those emotional liabilities I think that they have. I think when we are giving it to them hard, when we've built up a lead, I can see him and guys like Cantwell and that losing the plot.
Yeah, Cantwell's definitely one that I think can maybe the emotional catch up to him tomorrow. Am I right saying that Suter as well was the player that we beat them 3-2 last season? He tried to play a back pass to McGregor and Jota ran on it, went round the goalkeeper and pretty much retired McGregor right then and there. Just the way he caught up to that ball and then stuck it in the net. So it was Suter that day. Because I remember he redeemed himself in their eyes with a goal in the dead rubber game, and that was him. World-class defender again, £10 million, Timmy. But no, not a chance. So let's go. But I've got a question that came in here from NM that says, what's the panel's thoughts on our chances of the double? If we win the league, will we go on to win the Scottish Cup as well? My answer to that is yes, I think we will. I think if we win this title, and obviously we're in the driving seat, we haven't won it yet, obviously, but if we take a massive step to it tomorrow, I think we go on and we win the double comfortably, I think, in the end, because their spirit is broken. After their shaky results with Ross County and Dundee, you had Dujon Sterling coming out and saying stuff in the press about how he's looking around the dressing room and it doesn't feel like a team that knows they're in a title race. And then Clement had to come out after it and basically say, oh yeah, he's lacked experience in what he said. They basically covered up for him. And it's like, he's kind of lifted the lid there that always, that's just after a couple of bad results where theoretically they're still very much in the title race. And the treble is still on the table for them. And when you're hearing players coming out and saying that after just a couple of shaky results, it's almost like they are resigned to knowing that they know what's coming here. The inevitable is coming. So I do think that if we do win this title, and obviously we're in a great position to do it, I think, we secure the double as well. Because I know people talk about that Aberdeen semi-final and how tragic at times we were defensively, but I just feel like the atmosphere around the club going into that final compared to them will be so different. We will go into that final so buzzing and full of confidence of winning this title, and they'll be broken going into that final. So for me, if we do win the league, then I think the double follows. Michael, do you subscribe to that one?
Definitely. I think, I said earlier on, and I think they're imploding anyway already. Like, everything's come out. You made the point earlier that even the press conference this week, Jack Butland saying something totally different from the manager.
Yeah.
So surely if you get into a game like this, it's even if it's just being as a media front, maybe there's a fractured behind closed doors, whatever, I don't know, whatever. But you think you'd be reading for the same hymn sheet, get into this game, for the press at least. But when they're one of the players that are most, like, one of the best players of the season, before is saying something totally different from the manager, then there's more going on behind the scenes if that's what's been getting said to the press. Yeah. I think, I don't know, I'm not mad for like TikTok, I don't use it, but somebody pointed out last week that Todd Catmull made it, maybe on Instagram, whatever. Todd Catmull made a post as well about a bird can't fly properly if it's in a cage and stuff like that. So the more that comes out, like, they're always not well behind the scenes. So I think if we win tomorrow and we're going to win the league, then I think a lot of the players will turn their back on Clement as well. And I think he'll do the exact same. I think he's that arrogant that he would just lose the plot with a lot of the players. See them's the problem. So I think we will. I think if we win tomorrow, obviously, win convincingly, I think they're done, even for the cup final. I know it's weeks away and not that long in fairness, but I think if we beat them tomorrow convincingly, then they're gone. I think. Yeah, I think they're gone for the season because a lot of the players I think they'll if they're falling the manager and stuff like they're saying something completely different from what he's saying. So I think they'll be gone, dead and buried if we beat them tomorrow. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the cracks are definitely there. I see maybe Dujon Sterling revealed a little too much in that one. I say if the managers would come out and sort of cover for him after it, then that tells you that all is not well. And see, theoretically, they still have a treble on the table. So from their point of view and their fans' point of view, that is quite a worrying sign. But Liam, You think it's going to be I called it an improbable double a few months ago when we were pretty much on those, but it was always still there. But just the very idea of it was like, God, we're going to have a hell of a something big's going to have to happen. But hey, miracles do happen. We've seen it over the years. We've seen some mad moments in Scottish football where, it can just turn. And now we do find ourselves that improbable double, but it's never an impossible double. It could be there. So do you think we will be celebrating that come the end of the season, Liam?
It's hard to see. It's hard to see past tomorrow, Phil. I mean, that's for me. Like, they asked Brendan Rodgers a similar question in the press conference, and he's just focused on tomorrow. I think tomorrow, if we beat them, I think they collapse. They collapse. They're all showing up for the final. It's not like they're going to get a second wind or motivation that somehow their crowd's going to inspire them. They lose tomorrow. That Ibrox crowd, next time they go play at home, they turn on them. They will not be galvanized and spirited as a team to go on and go out there and play for the fans. No, I think they'll just want to. A lot of the players just want to get out of Glasgow and go back to their holidays or their different homes wherever they are, because it's starting to look like full of mercenaries. So if we win tomorrow, we definitely win the double because we will shatter their confidence.
Without a doubt. Well, let's talk about then where we are going to win it tomorrow and how we're going to win it. So for you, Michael, who is the key men that are going to be the difference for us tomorrow? Callum McGregor obviously showing last week that he's getting back to full fitness after the weeks of worry. So we know what he can bring to the table. But I think the first guy we need to really focus on, and he's made this fixture kind of his own over the last 18 months, is Kyogo, because there was a wee spell there when Kyogo first came in where they, as in the Rangers fans, were beginning to think he was going to be the equivalent of Morelos against us, where he just doesn't score in the big game. But then from the start of last year onwards, I think in the calendar year of 2023, he scored something like 7 goals against them. And obviously the last one was that screamer at Celtic Park just at the end of the year. Didn't get on the score sheet, obviously, at Ibrox, but yeah, for me, and especially with some of the form he's been showing recently, some of the goals he's been scoring, he's finding his scoring boots at just the right time. So for me, Kyogo is definitely a key man tomorrow. And I know there might be some fans that might think, would he start Ida? I don't think Ida starts. Ida's definitely a guy to come on and rough them up a wee bit later in the game. But yeah, for me, Kyogo tomorrow has to be a massive part if we're going to be successful in this game. He's crucial, mate.
Definitely. And you can see they changed tactic. Not so much the game at Ibrox, but the game at Celtic Park in December. Goals was kind of dropping off for let Kyogo go in deep. Try to keep him a bit further away from the goal. And what happened to that game? Let him drop deep for one second.
Yep.
He's not running in for 20 yards.
Yep.
So I think he's getting him terrified mentally. Like his movement is frightening for them. They don't know where to turn. And I think they're quite static at centre back as well. They're not the quickest. So even if he gets half a yard, then they're in trouble. And I think they know that as well. So I think he's definitely the key. Like you said, Phil, 7 goals in a calendar year against him last year and he scored twice this year, obviously. No, that was the same calendar, you know what I mean? But I think Kyogo definitely. I think Callum McGregor being back fully fit, he just bossed in midfield as well. And I think Hatate's massive as well. He just gets his playing a lot quicker, and I think Mattarelli looks a lot better beside Hatate as well.
Yeah,
as he seems to play a lot better. But I'll say I'll back up what Liam said earlier. That's kind of one of my concern is the left side, because I think Scales have been great recently, and I want slag Scales. I think he's dug us out a massive hole this season. But earlier in the season, if we never had him, I think we'd been in deep trouble about injuries we had and stuff like that. So I've nothing against Liam Scales, but I think the last maybe 4 or 5 weeks he's looked shaky. But I think he'll turn up tomorrow as well. That's been my concern. But no, I think Kyogo's the main one. Callum McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly. I think that's where we win it.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, I think their only threat is Tavernier for set pieces.
No,
I'm not worried about another player. And that's what they play for. They play for set pieces.
They do actually, yeah. If you actually watch them, they do look for them all the time because he does deliver a good corner and good free kicks, and we know how dangerous he is for 12 yards out. But there's somebody there, Liam, that Michael mentioned that I'm glad he brought him up as well, who's going to be crucial. And I was a little worried when he came back into the team after a long layoff, because again, you're just like, I mean, when he played at the start of the season for the few games he got Hatate, where you're like, oh, we want to be seeing the best of him. So when we were getting close to his comeback, a lot of fans out there were basically pinning their hopes on he's going to be the key. But when you actually look at the timeline now of how our results have picked up, a lot of it does tie into Rio Hatate's return and his return to form. So he came back in against Livingston, which I was worried about big time, because Livingston, hatchet men, plastic pitch and all that, but he cruised through that game. And yeah, I thought he was had a good showing at Ibrox, and since then he's just got better and better. And we've said before, Liam, we talk about scalpers, says that Hatate has got the potential to be a scalper. And remember his first ever game against him. I mean, if this might be, I don't want to put a dampener on things, but this might be his last game against him as well. Who knows what the summer holds? I'd like to hope not. I'd like to think the player himself will look to do one more year, because this year's pretty much been a write-off for him with the injuries. I'd like to think he'd have one more crack at it. But yeah, he's going to be massive tomorrow in that middle of the park, isn't he, Liam?
Aye, I mean, all that speculation about him goes away tomorrow with a big game. Also, as well, too, if he sees himself in the, as a big player, and if he's looking to put himself in the shop window, well, tomorrow's the game that you do that. And I think that's the same with all our players. Somebody like Matt O'Reilly, who knows he might be going in the summer as well, puts him in the shop window as well to give a big occasion to see what he can do. I think their strength is going to come right down the middle, and I see three players going to be pivotal tomorrow. Kyogo, I think, is going to give their defence nightmares. I think they're going to be, if we can get them on cards early, by having to just drag them all out of the place and having to pull them down, that will completely upset their rhythm. Callum McGregor needs to show up, and I think he has to show more responsibility on that left-hand side. Knowing that that's where we're vulnerable, I want to see our captain take charge and make sure that it doesn't hurt us. So that, shouting, positioning, talk Scales and Taylor through the game so that it doesn't hurt us. And then I think the one man we've not spoken about as well, Joe Hart.
Yeah.
The whole Joe Hart Celtic story is something I could never have predicted. He was never a guy I thought was I could ever see as a Celtic player. Now he's probably one of the most committed guys in the park as far as getting it what this game means to us and what it means to us as fans. And also, I think you just see him as a player as well, professional, totally professional. I think he's the one that's going to be able to talk our back four through this game. He's going to be one that's going to be able to calm us down as well. And he's made some cracking saves over the last couple of weeks as well. So I see that being our 3 points. Kyogo with the goals, McGregor with the leadership, and Joe Hart just being Mr. Reliable and just putting a really happy context to it all as well. This will probably be in his second last game against them, But a big win for him. He'll cherish that,
Yeah, well, so the form he's shown ever since he basically handed in his notice has been fantastic. It really has been. Since he said he was retiring and forced our hand, because we will be looking for a new goalkeeper. And funny enough, not most fans, but a lot of fans did say at the start of the season we should be looking to upgrade Hart last summer. And I think they were right to question it, but ever since he's basically said he's retiring, I think he's been unbelievable. And I've said a few times now, when that Player of the Year awards comes around, which is on Sunday night now, I think he would be a decent shout. I don't think he will get it in the end. It'll probably be Matt O'Reilly that will get it in the end. But I think if Joe Hart did win it, then I think it's a very, very worthy award for him. Speaking of, I just mentioned Matt O'Reilly, the AJSC asked if we do get if we get a penalty, which is a big if, because they're few and far between against Rangers. Do another Panenka? Does he lace it? I think he would have to lace it. I don't think he would take. I think Butland might be a bit ready for it this time, but it would be bold as brass if he did it again and scored. I remember Dembele did the Panenka against him as well in the semi-final years ago. The one where "be careful what you wish for" was the narrative running into it, and Dembele just absolutely done them with that one. But I mean, that was hell of a moment for O'Reilly down at the Copeland Road end to just go and do that. But if we do find ourselves with a penalty tomorrow, it's a big if. For me, no funny business. I'm not a big fan of silly run-ups and stuff like that. I like my players to just pick their spot and just put their laces through it and just put it away. I mean, his goal last week against Hearts for the penalty spot, that's It's exactly what you want, just ping it right in the top corner, because I don't think tomorrow's a time to be doing anything fancy. Just get it. If you get that chance for 12 yards, stick it away, whatever you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting to about 5 minutes to go, so I guess we need to do it, guys. We need to do the good old predictions. We need to talk about that part there to close off the show. Could be famous last words here. So yeah, obviously if you watch from the start of the show, I think we've been giving off quite a confident vibe between the three of us that everything's going to be fine. But again, I have mentioned a couple of times tonight, just err on the side of caution, because yes, foreign books can go out the window in this fixture. That being said, I do think Celtic will get the win. I would love it, in the words of Kevin Keegan, for us to just turn up and smash them, like as Graham Turrier says, 5-0. Absolutely love that. And hey, it might very well happen. It's one of those, you just on the day, you might just, when you arrive, you just feel something in the air, like that 3-0 game in February 20. There was just something in the air at that game where you just knew it was going to be something. But as long as we win, that's all that matters. As long as we win, the more comfortable, the better. But ultimately, Celtic need to be sitting there with the 3 points at the end of it. Do I have to go for a scoreline? Do I put a scoreline down? I just play it safe and just say I think we'll win, because I'm going to just bottle it and just say I think Celtic will win at the end of it. I'm not going to commit to a scoreline. I'm just going to say Celtic win, and that's all that matters to me, as long as they get the points. What about you, Michael? Are you more, you've got a scoreline in mind, how it's going to play out? Are you just playing it safe like me as well?
No, I do agree with you. Like, I would take anyone in a minute, but I'm confident without being complacent, if you know what I mean. I think we'll turn up tomorrow. I'm saying 3-0, and I'll stick by it. I think we score an early goal, then we'll kick on for you, and they'll basically keep it short. And for once, when I say Keogh go first scorer, please let it be. So I've said that a few times on here, and he's never scored first goal. Every time I say it, so hope I'm not cursing anything. But I think 3-0, honestly.
3-0, okay. And Liam, what about yourself?
I see a 5. I see a 5 somewhere. I think it's for Celtic, and I think that's we've put 5 by better teams than the one that they've got when we've had worse players playing. We've got our full team back. We sound like we've had a very good week in preparation. We know what this means to it. We've all been there before. This is a Rangers team that's rattled. I'm confident we're going to be 5. Might not be 5-0, might be 5-1, 5-2, but just like O'Neill's early tenure thing, I think Celtic can put 5, and I think our crowd, once we get up, I think our crowd's not going to let down as well, where we're going to push them to score 5. So once they get the first one, we want a second one. I can see us going in half time, something like a 2-0, 3-0 lead, and then them just losing their composure. That's what it's going to come down to. They'll be taking all sorts of fouls. I think Cantwell and McGregor is going to be a really interesting battle, because there was a bit of verbals after the last match, and one of the reporters asked Callum about Cantwell, and it was just, you could just see McGregor's face. It was just like, oh, he's peace, not even bothered with him. And so that'll be, I want to see an edgier side to Callum tomorrow, like a wee bit more Scott Brown about him, where he wants to just rub it in a wee bit, because they're a right mouthy lot, for guys that have played with like Norwich and stuff like that. They've really got a high opinion of themselves. So I want to see just us rub their face in it a wee bit. And the more we destroy them, the less they're going to show up in the cup final. They will be battered and beaten. And that's what I want.
Yeah, no, that's all good stuff. So yeah, it's wins all round, even though I kind of bottled it and just said I think we'll win. I haven't committed to a score. Although, before we quickly go, one question, just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on this. See if it ends a draw tomorrow. Will you take that? No. No. I know Terry said it last week. I did PMP. He said last week, I know Terry's quite a cautious guy at the best of times, and he said, I would take a draw right now. And yes, it would still keep us in the driving seat, but I think, again, it's going to depend on how the game plays out. We're going to Ibrox in the last one. I said before the game, look, I would take a draw. It depends how the game plays out, though. And after the way that game played out, the way it was, we were 2-0 up. We were 3-2 up with a few minutes to go. There was actually about 15 minutes to go as it turned out. You still feel a bit like, a kicker, them scoring such a late one. again, it's one of the ones, once the game's said and done, if it happens to end in a draw, we'll take stock then. But right now, I think it's like, no, we have to go out and just get the win, just get it done. See, Brendan's been in this position before where it's like a case of you beat Rangers today, you've won the league, then again, just drawing inspiration from that. So hopefully Brendan has got that into them. And we get it done tomorrow, 3 points, no less Celtic. That's what we're looking for. So we will now head off, folks. That's us done an hour. It's been a fun Friday night. Fun being the key word, I think, this week. And hopefully come tomorrow night, it'll be another fun night for Celtic. And PMP will be on tomorrow. Russell will be on with Terry. So they'll be there for some time. So if it's a half-12 kickoff, probably sometime at 3ish or something, I'll speak to Russell tomorrow and get the link set up for it. So just keep an eye out for it, folks, and they'll be on to do the post-match wrap-up on it all. And we're off. So if you're going to the game tomorrow, obviously enjoy it. And if you're watching it wherever you are, like Liam, for instance, is over in Canada, what time will it be? 4:30 in the morning for you, Liam?
Aye, 4:30. Don't have the club open still, so first game I'll be watching it in the house myself in a long time. So I just hope the stream gods are with me tomorrow.
Hardcore though, mate. At 4:30. The dedication is fantastic from you every week, mate. So fair play to you, man. Fair play. But we're going to head off, folks. So enjoy the game tomorrow, and I say come back tomorrow for PMP, and hopefully we are celebrating not only just a Celtic win, but I think it would be safe to say at that point it'll be another Celtic title. So guys, we'll catch you later. All the best.
Yo.